All right, I greet you all. We've been talking about Nigeria, and how Nigeria was not meant to work from the initial stage, from the ab initio. Some people think that we are tribal bigots, that we are fermenting trouble, that we are causing tension. But right here, I want you guys to watch this video and listen to the analysis, in-depth analysis about Nigeria and how Nigeria was, formed, how Nigeria was established. Then you will ask yourself, is this how other nations who are progressive today, was formed? Nigeria is just a male business center. Is just a company that was later changed to a country. Nigeria was never meant to work. That's the gospel truth. The earlier we realize this, the better for us. Like MNK said, the more we try to preserve Nigeria, the more it consumes life. The earlier Nigerians realize this, the better for them. Look at what is going on. This was the broadcast he made many years ago. Then ask yourself what is going on. Look at the onslaught of Fulani everywhere. Onslaught of Fulani everywhere. The other time, the governor of Benue, Plateau State, came out to, rant and lament as usual on what Fulani, is doing in his state. He said how Fulani unloved people in numbers. He was the one that also told his people to defend themselves. Yes, if they know anything they can do to defend and protect themselves, they should do it. Now the Plateau people have seen that this issue of cow is the problem to them. Now this very cow, now they lead to their buying. They decided to do what? To grab the bull by the horn, by making sure that the cow that came into their community, never, go back alive. At least, everyone know this cow, KG Kutarago. This cow, they do what? They buy the cow, they poison the cow. Now, Fulani on the para. Now, the governor have set up committee to investigate people that buy cow. But this same Mugu, this same big for nothing, never set, he never set a committee to investigate people that buy unlived people in their numbers, that they conducted a mass burial. He never set up a committee to investigate, but he was quick to set up a committee to investigate the buying of cow. Now, I don't understand. Sometimes I will be asking myself, waiting Fulani to hold people, all these politicians. Which kind juju, which kind power these people are well? Which kind power these people possessed in Nigeria? Which kind power? Now go listen. He set up a committee to investigate. But that one aside, let me not digress much. I want you guys to listen to the analysis of this, our brother. He's top notch. Real top notch. So that as you are defending Nigeria, you will know exactly what you are defending. You know how the thing you are defending came about. Then you ask yourself, is there any country that came from this process? Will that country be fruitful? Have you seen the reason why, despite the abundant resources in that very damn nation, people find it difficult to eat? Check nations that has crude oil, that has oil. Check the standard of living of the citizen. Check their per capita income. Check it. Then compare it with that of Nigeria. Compare it with that of Nigeria. At this 21st century, there is no light. No light. Whereas Now we are in AI generation. Now they are building robots that can carry pregnancy. You see pregnancy? They are building, not even building, they've developed a robot that can, incubate a child. This is the generation we are into. This is the generation that AI, robot can barb your hair, robot can do domestic work perfectly. Go to China, robots are taking care of business. They are doing some certain job, even in the hospital. This is the very generation we are into. Yet, Nigeria is yet, they are yet to have a steady electricity. Then you should ask yourself, when will there be light in Nigeria? When? Every 4 years, they will campaign with light, road, and water. Every 4 years. Ever since I was born to this very age, this has been the order of the day. They tire. Sometimes I will be asking myself, like MNK said, the people who are telling you about how to protect Nigeria, how Nigeria should remain one, check them. It's either people who are benefiting from Nigeria or people who have benefited in the past. Then it baffles me that you, ever since you were born, you've not benefited anything from Nigeria. You are defending Nigeria. Nigeria never do you. Nigeria never do you. If Nigeria happened to you, guy, you go soji. You go soji. You will be in the midst of other foreigners. They will be proudly introducing their country. For you to open your mouth to say, I am from Nigeria, becomes a problem. It will becomes a problem. Immediately you say you are from a Nigeria, you are in Nigeria, you are from Nigeria. It will be a prime suspect. You will see people like from Togo, Congo, all these African countries. They will be proud to tell you I'm from Congo. I'm from Botswana. I'm from Uganda. They will be proud to say it in the midst of other foreigners. But when it comes to Nigeria, you as a Nigerian, you first you'll be battling with your mind. Will I say I am from Nigeria, or will I call any African country? Will I call any African country? Like me here, each time I'm in the midst of foreigners, if they ask me, where are you from? It's either I say Biafra. If they say they do not hear about Biafra, I will open my phone and show them this is where I come from. We are fighting for our freedom. Or sometimes I will just kukuma say, I am from South Africa, instead of mentioning that Nigeria, because as soon as you mention Nigeria, bam, you will get suspect. Yeah? There is something Jonathan said. He said the reason why Nigeria is being demarcated, that's where he put that English, or the reason why Nigeria is, is seen as one kind of country in an international community, as a very corrupt, distant international community. It's not by fraud that ordinary citizens indulge on. He said it is the corruption, is the level of corruption, the level of things that the people who are in the corridors of power are doing. Not even the mere people who are doing local 419 and all these things. Say no. Say if you dissect, if you reason the corruption, the level of corruption, the level of impunity going on in Nigeria, man, Araga Abagi. No long talk. I want you guys to listen to the analysis of this, our brother, so that you that is defending Nigeria, to see how Nigeria came about. I greet you all. Peace and love.
I just found out something astonishing about the origin of Nigeria that shocked the hell out of me. Nigeria was never meant to be a country. It was something else entirely. In this video, I'm going to tell you what I discovered. Oh, and I want to acknowledge Burna Boy for bringing my attention to this in his song Another Story on his album African Giant. Thank you for inspiring this video, and all of you let Burna Boy know that he got to me, and now I'm sharing this information with you. The creation of Nigeria was never about democracy, never about Christianity. It was about money, business, and profit. None of it for us. Pay attention. The area now known as Nigeria was called the Slave Coast up to 1870. This was the point at which the British had stopped slave trading and moved on to palm oil as their primary commodity out of Nigeria. One of the main suppliers of palm oil was the Benin Kingdom, and you have to watch my video on one of the greatest African kings most of you have never heard of, Oba Ovonramwen. This is an important story for me personally because I'm from that region, so they are my people, and his fight with the British Empire over palm oil is one of the greatest stories of African colonial history. Anyway, everyone wanted palm oil, and especially the British. A man called George Goldie set up the United African Company in 1879, which was then changed to the National African Company. He structured the palm oil business in the Niger Delta region, and by 1884 he had a monopoly that the British could exploit. So in 1886, Goldie violated the agreement he had made with the chiefs and moved his operations into River Niger and Benue. The company was also renamed to Royal Niger Company. Goldie tricked the chiefs into signing unfair trade deals, giving Goldie exclusive rights to export palm oil instead of what the chiefs thought would be free trade. These contracts were written in English, a language we didn't understand, and based on laws that were not our own. This is similar to the land negotiations done with Native Americans in what is now known as the United States of America, where deals were done via contracts in English with laws that had nothing to do with the Native Americans. There was a meeting called the Berlin Conference in 1884 to 1885, set up by Germany's first chancellor, Otto von Bismarck. This was where colonial powers discussed how to carve up Africa and structure trade across the pieces of our continent they would take. We were not part of these conversations. The best way to think of this is like the NBA draft. Guys were out there making bids between lunch breaks and spa sessions. At this conference, the Kingdom of Opobo was given to Britain. When King Jaja of Opobo tried to export his own palm oil, he was accused of obstructing commerce and then exiled. How crazy is that? And on his way home in 1891, he was poisoned with a cup of tea. Guys, I couldn't make this stuff up. The Jaja of Opobo story made other chiefs wary of their deals with the British. King Koko of Nembe Brass was one of them. He tried to take down the Royal Niger Company and attacked the company headquarters in Akassa, Bayelsa on January 29, 1895. King Koko captured 60 white men and lost 40 of his own soldiers. He used the 60 hostages to demand he be allowed free trade, the agreement he believed he had with the British company. They refused, and he killed 40 of his hostages. The British Royal Navy retaliated by leveling the city of Brass completely on February 20th, 1895. King Koko went into exile, and the British not only took control of the palm oil he once had, but also fined the people of his kingdom £500, as well as confiscating their weapons. Tragically, King Koko committed suicide in exile in 1898, after being branded an outlaw by the British company that had taken his kingdom, palm oil, and reputation. The Royal Niger Company sold its territory to the British government for £865,000 in the late 1800s. This territory was known as Nigeria. In 1914, the Southern Protectorate and Northern Protectorate was combined by Lord Lugard, and like that, the Royal Niger Company was rebranded as a country which would gain independence on October 1st, 1960. And Lugard is a street in Nigeria that still exists today. The Royal Niger Company changed its name to the Niger Company Limited, and it was then acquired by Unilever. Unilever still operates in Nigeria to this day. And that, my brothers and sisters, is how Nigeria came to be. We have a long way to go to fix the country, but we won't ever have a hope in a solution to our problems if we don't know how they started. What I told you in this video is just a small part of the foundations that led to unrest, civil war, economic instability, and so forth. Remember, it's not about asking anyone else to fix this, or even wasting time blaming those we know caused and perpetuated it. This is about knowing our history. Nigeria was never a country we created. It was a company designed by colonizers for profit, and a lot of the infrastructure put in place for that siphoning of resources out of our land is still very much in place today. Crude oil simply replaced palm oil, and soon lithium may replace crude oil. Honestly, I feel angry not just for what happened to my ancestors, but for the fact that I wasn't taught about this in school in Nigeria, and that our children are not being taught.